For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
As more people start to understand this technology, and we begin to get more and more data as to what this technology allows for and how it can actually enhance the way that humans interact with their brain, their thoughts, and their intelligence, I wouldn't be surprised to see this become a major field to improve humans' capabilities and to also drive more economic productivity globally.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants.
In as little as 5 years, super smart people could be walking down the street. And in women who've paid to increase their intelligence. Neuroscientist Moran Cerf makes that prediction because he's working on a smart chip for the brain.
Make it so that it has an internet connection and it goes to Wikipedia, and when I think this particular thought, it gives me the answer.
Right now. The other thing they're working on is to link your brain to a computer. In other words, you could think Google and think search and it would do it for you. Is that possible? And again, sounds pretty science fiction. It's happening right now.
You believe that you're going to be actually able to tell your mind through a chip to provide you with information that you can then speak. So on this program, this would be great for me. You put a little chip in there, and if I didn't know something, I could say would I have to say it out loud or just think it? Either way. I could just think it, give me an answer.
It's all being done with my brain. If y'all can see the cursor moving around the screen, that's all me, y'all. It's pretty cool, huh?
Scientists in South Korea are working on a brain implant that could help. It's the size of a grain of rice, and it would allow you to pick your moods with a smartphone app. So you could pick to be happy, you could pick to be sad, I guess, or maybe something more a little in the middle, like nostalgia.
We're trying to make an artificial interface, a cybernetic interface to the brain, and nobody really knows the language to talk to the brain.
It's a language Dr. Philip Troik has been trying to decode for decades.
We are dealing with an enemy that doesn't just want to brainwash us. We are dealing with an enemy that wants to get into our brains.
Just think of sensors planted into our brains.
This is the mark of the beast.
How are you doing this? So you go through, it's a minimally invasive, but it is invasive, and how does it actually work? Talk to us about your device.
I think there are 6 companies now building implantable BCIs. So one requires removal of the skull and removal of dura, and then putting needles in. One removes the skull and puts a silicon device on top of the surface of the brain. And then there's a couple of variations of that, and then we utilize the blood vessels to get into the brain. So the blood vessels also sit on the surface of the brain, and so we've identified our technology position is around delivering electronics into blood vessels that sit on the surface of the brain, and then the signal processing and electronics that drive the system.
We're going to start the experiment, okay?
That experiment you're seeing now is something only a handful of people have experienced. Having a microchip read your mind from inside your head. It's part of a growing industry that includes Elon Musk's Neuralink, which says it just implanted its first chip into a human brain. Tom Oxley is the CEO of Synchron, one of the 5 leading BCIs that are competing in the industry. While they vary in several ways, there's one major difference that sets them apart: invasiveness, or how deeply implanted they are in the brain.
Where neurotechnology has been developing is to try to make devices that are less invasive, but also devices that work better. Devices that can get more information in and out, devices that can target specific regions of the brain.
Neuralink's device and others like it have to be implanted directly into or onto the brain in order to gather more data. Synchron, on the other hand, is a stent that is implanted into a blood vessel in the surface of the brain. It's less risky than brain surgery, But the placement can affect what information the implant gets from the brain.
You know, there's a whole bunch of different ideas for what's going to give you the best brain signal readings. And, you know, from that data, can we do more? But then there's a trade-off with invasiveness. And so you have all these companies doing slightly different things, hoping to come up with sort of the best recipe.
Where I see the future is a company, maybe Neuralink or Paradromics, that focus on high bandwidth. There's going to be companies like Synchron and Motif that focus on minimal invasiveness. Naturally, those customers are going to start to look different. At that point, I think there's going to be more competition between these companies as they start to establish who is the #1 person in neurotech.
This is all part of an industry that they say is going to boom to $2.5 billion, tenfold growth by the year 2023. It's the human augmentation market, Bart, and it includes more than just these little chips in your hand. It includes bionic limbs. It includes a chip in your brain that can connect the brain to a computer.